Welcome to Arlene's Kitchen, and today I'll be making for you a beautiful steak dinner with my Chuckwagon Brussels sprouts. For those, I need some bacon fried, so I'm just frying up some bacon. And when it's all nice and crispy, I'm going to be removing it from the pan and adding my Brussels sprouts with a little bit of butter, black pepper, and some salt. So while we're waiting for this bacon to cook, I will do a few things and be back. Alright, so my bacon has been cooking for about 4 to 5 minutes, and it is nice and crispy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer the bacon to my little dish here. Now, to this bacon grease, I'm going to add some butter. Not much, about a tablespoon or so. I did turn the pot off because it's cast iron and it gets real hot. I always cook with cast iron. I absolutely love cast iron. As you'll see later in the video when I'm making my steak, I have the cast iron with the lines, and it makes beautiful lines on the steak. Alright, so to this butter and oil, or bacon grease rather, I'm going to add my Brussels sprouts. I'm going to show you how to clean a few of them, and then the rest I will do and throw in. So with the Brussels sprout, you just want to take that tiny little knob off the bottom, and you can leave the leaves in there. The leaves get nice and crispy and delicious, and that's how I like to eat my Brussels sprouts, when everything is crispy. So again, you just cut the little knob off the bottom and then throw them in the pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the rest of these and show you how they cook up, and they will be getting finished in the oven. Okay? See you in a few. Okay, so my Brussels sprouts are frying up very nicely with about a tablespoon of butter and the grease from the bacon. And I'm just going to chop up this bacon now into just small, and that's why I like it crispy, because it just tastes so much better. I don't like rubbery bacon to begin with. So anything I make that has bacon, it's always nice and crispy. And you can make the chunks of bacon as big or as small as you want to. That's good. Alright, I'll just wash my hands quick. Alright, so these Brussels sprouts are going to finish cooking in the oven. So I just want to get them a little browned up here. And I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of black pepper. And because the bacon fat is salty to begin with, I'm not adding any salt. Now I'm going to set my top oven for 350. So bake 350 start. Alright, so that's going to warm up a minute. Get that pepper all nice and coated on the Brussels sprouts. This is one of my favorite vegetables, is Brussels sprouts. And, you know, back in the day, what did I know? I used to just make them, you know, boil them in water like everybody else, and tons of butter and salt and pepper, and even though I like them, they're nothing compared to doing them like this. You can also do this with frozen Brussels sprouts. You don't have to buy fresh ones. I just happened to see them on sale, so I bought a big bag. But usually I do get the frozen, and it's the same thing. Just throw them in the pan with the bacon grease and the butter and some black pepper. Cook. I'm cooking these now maybe for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then they're going to continue to bake in the oven. So I'm going to shut this off. Get my dish. Get this out of the way. Okay, so these are just going to go right in my baking dish. And I'm going to cover it with foil and let it cook on 350 for about a half hour. Then I'm going to uncover it and let them even get more crispy. They are delicious, and when they're like mush when you bite into them, and that's how I love them. My husband, he would never eat Brussels sprouts. I started making them like this, and it's actually one of his favorite vegetables now. Because it is such a difference than boiling them. I would never, ever in my life make boiled Brussels sprouts ever again. Now I'm just going to put all this goodness of bacon on top. And we're going to mix that in. Delish! Looking great already. I love the crunchy leaves. So good. Like I said, if you wanted to add a little bit, you know, a pinch of kosher salt, that's fine. I'll probably add some salt when it's on my plate, when I'm ready to eat. But it's always better to add salt at the end, because if you add it now, you can never take it out if you put too much. And the bacon grease is salty, and the bacon's salty, so it really doesn't need it, but, you know, like I said, if you want to add a little salt, that's fine. So I'm just going to wrap this with foil. Stick it in my oven. Alright, that's preheated. Now, how to do timer. Top timer. So for 30 minutes, and then start. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in the oven. And then after 30 minutes, I'm going to uncover it and do it for about another 30 minutes. Alright, so let me get cleaned up here and I'll be back. Hi everyone. While I'm waiting for my Brussels sprouts in the oven, I'm going to make my iced tea for the next couple days. So what I do is, because I don't drink hot tea, I don't drink coffee in the morning. It's either water or an iced tea. Or I'll drink milk, because I'm not a coffee person and I don't like hot tea. So I have my water boiling. So I have about 4 cups, maybe 5 cups of water here. Where's my trivet? And in my iced tea dispenser, I have 5 green tea bags, and then 3 green tea, which is flavored with pomegranate and raspberry, and that's my favorite combo. So now to that, I am going to add 3 tablespoons of my turbinado sugar, which is just a fancy word for raw brown sugar. If you've never seen turbinado sugar before, it's just raw sugar. It's unbleached. It's, you know, whatever they do to regular sugar to get it white and everything. This is how it comes in the package. So it's 100% all natural, and it's just called turbinado. It's just a pure sugar that happens to be like brownish in color. I like it. So if I feel I need more, I'll add more, but right for now, 3 tablespoons is good. Now I'm going to add, make sure this is off. My luck, it'll be on. Close, okay. I think that's right. Last time I did it, I had iced tea all over my counter. I'm like, what the heck? All right. All right, so now I'm just gonna stir this. And this will sit on my counter for 2 to 3 days. It'll be good. After that, you don't want to drink it because it can get moldy. But I've left it on here for 3 days and it was fine. So now I'm going to add I'm going to let that brew for like a minute or 2. Steep. And then I'm going to add the same pot that I boiled the water. I'm going to fill half up with water and then half with ice. I'm going to be making a watermelon smoothie later, so I need to save some ice. Alright, so let me just give this one more stir, make sure the sugar is all melted nicely. It smells so good. I love pomegranate tea. Now I'm going to let that continue to set. I mean, as it is right now, I could probably take out a little cup. Just to see if it needs more sugar. So good. Delish. Has the right amount of sugar. Definitely taste the green tea. Get a little bit of that hint of the pomegranate. It's just delicious. I love it. Alright, so that's my little green tea thing. I'll fish those, I'll fish out the tea bags in about a half hour. I don't like to leave them in there. And that's how I make my tea for the week. Well, not for the week, for a couple days. I'll drink like 5 glasses of that today and the rest tomorrow. Alright, bye. Okay, so it's watermelon smoothie time. And I have watermelon in here and green apple with the pits, the cores, everything. I didn't seed it, the seeds, everything. The watermelon seeds are in there because this machine should pulverize them. Alright, so I'm just going to start by pulsing. Put it on like 4. Now that the apple and everything's all chopped up, I still got to do the seeds a little bit more. I think for a little bit more sweetness, I'm going to add 3 nice prunes. I love prunes. All right. Nice. This should taste good because you'll have the sweetness from the prunes, the sweetness from the watermelon, the tartness from the Granny Smith apple. And I think that's a nice combination. We'll have to wait and see. About 2 minutes. Alright, I think that's enough ice. Where's the other pot now? Okay. Okay, let's see what this tastes like. It smells good. So delicious. It really is. Nice and cold. Because my fruit was nice and cold. The apple and the watermelon, then with the ice. And it's more like a drink, not like a smoothie, a thick one. I can make it into a smoothie by adding some yogurt or some more ice. But I like it just like this. You really can taste the prune. Gives it a nice balance with the sweetness, with the watermelon and the Granny Smith apple. Delicious. Alright, I'm going to put this in a container and stick it in my refrigerator. Be back. Okay, it's steak time. Just move this so you can see the steak a little better. This was one big piece of sirloin steak that I cut a little piece, I cut a piece for me. And that I'll cook for my husband later, which will be his dinner, and then he takes lunch for tomorrow. So anything I cook extra because he takes it for lunch the next day. So I'm heating up my cast iron pan here, which has the lines in it. Like I said earlier, I love cooking with cast iron. I have a lot of cast iron, different size pots and Dutch ovens that are cast iron, and corn muffin to make little cornbreads that in the shape of a corn that are cast iron. I just love cooking with cast iron. Alright, so anyhow, to my steak, I took it out about a half hour ago. You want it at room temperature when you cook it. So I always just drizzle with a little olive oil. And this way it doesn't stick to the pan. And you just want to coat it on both sides with olive oil. I should have left the olive oil out, dummy. Not too much, but just enough. Alright, then both sides I'm going to hit with some coarse ground pepper. And this pepper is very strong. It's coarse, so a little goes a long way. And I like on my steak, because it has a variety of different seasonings, but you can certainly just put kosher salt on this and just do salt and pepper. That's the way when I cook the steak for the sisters at the convent. They love it. Just salt and pepper, perfectly seasoned. You want to taste the meat. You don't want to taste too much of the... Like, I hate marinated steaks. It depends. Most of the time, I don't like them. Sometimes, if it's made right, I do. But what I like on my steaks is a little bit of adobo. And just a little bit. Because, like I said, you want to taste the meat. So this is the adobo without the pepper. So now I'm going to flip them. And I'm going to put a little bit more adobo. No more pepper because the black pepper is strong. And that's it. So my pan's heating up. You want to cook on a very, very high heat when you're cooking steak. And the most important thing is not to keep flipping and flipping. People get so impatient. You gotta just let it cook. It needs at least, depending on how you like your steak, if you like it medium rare, like pink in the middle, or that's how I like it, you need at least 5 minutes on each side. I like to get those crisscross grill marks. So I'm actually going to put this up to sear. Now, I'm only cooking my piece. My one little piece. The other piece, when my husband gets home from work, I'll cook that for him later. After you cook your steak for a few minutes on each side, you want it to rest before you cut it. That's the most important thing. Most people take a steak off the barbecue. They take a steak off the pan. And right away they're cutting it and all the juices run out. That's why you get a tough, dry piece of meat. You want to let it rest for at least 15 minutes. It's still going to be hot. You can put a piece of foil over whatever dish you have it in. It's going to stay warm. Doesn't have to be piping hot to eat a steak. But all the juices are still going to be in it and it's going to be delicious. So now I want you to hear the sizzle. Okay. So that's the sizzle. And I'm going to cook probably 3 minutes. Turn it 3 minutes. Then turn it the opposite way so I get my crisscross lines for 3 minutes. Then on the other side, 3 minutes. So it'll cook a total of 12 minutes, and that's how I like my steak. I'm actually going to slice mine. I'll show you how nice it looks inside once it's sliced. But I'm going to eat mine on a salad. So I'm just going to do lettuce, tomato, cucumber, some sliced steak, and some hard-boiled egg. That's going to be my salad for tonight. But my husband's, I'm going to make his steak later, and he's going to have scalloped potatoes and the Brussels sprouts with his. So I'll show you how the steak comes out in a little bit. Alright, so I already flipped my steak once. I'm just going to wait like another half a minute. And then I'm going to flip it again, and I'm going to show you how I flip it so that I get the crisscross on my steak. And look, I love this pan so much because right on your stovetop, this isn't even my stovetop, this is my induction cooktop, and look at the gorgeous lines I get. Again, you want your setting to be on high. You can even put it on sear if you'd like. That's how I was heating it up when it was on sear. But, let's see, there we go. So I'm just going to wait a few more seconds. And then turn this. Now, I'm going to turn it, but see how the lines are going this way? Now I want the lines to go this way. So I want to flip it so that it goes that way. And then you'll see how the crisscross comes out. So I'm going to let this cook on this side for about 3 minutes. Flip it so that I get the grill marks going this way for 3 minutes. Then my steak will be perfectly done. Okay, so my steak was cooked on both sides with that pan. My cast iron pan with the lines. And as you can see, it made a beautiful mark. The other side as well. Now I want to eat this steak on my salad. So I want my steak to be cold. I'm going to eat it later. But it's been resting here for about 5 minutes. And I'm just going to cut into it and show you how it looks on the inside. Now when you cut steak, let me see, can you see this? Let me move this. When you cut steak, you want to cut on an angle. I always do anyhow. So you're just going to take your steak and you're going to cut down. Let me see if you can get this here. And I like to eat my steak rare. My husband likes his medium rare. So for him, I would cook it like another 3 to 4 minutes. But there you have it. Gorgeous, gorgeous, delicious steak. Just enough of pepper. That adobo adds such a nice flavor. And right before I serve it on my salad, I'm going to hit it with a tiny bit of kosher salt. But it's delicious. Now let's see how my Brussels sprouts are doing. This steak is really, really good. And this isn't like the most expensive steak. This was just sirloin steak that I got from BJ's. Oh my God, so good. Alright. Alright, let's check on the Brussels sprouts. I actually ended up putting them back in. I set the thing at 350 for a half hour. Put them back in for another half hour. Put them back in for another 20 minutes. I like mine mushy. Like I said, mushy and tender. And they're so hot. Alright. Alright, let's see. I'm going to cut into one. Oops, my camera fell. Let's see. The bacon is so crisp. The Brussels sprouts are crisp. And I'm just going to cut into one and let's see. I love the crispy leaves. Delicious. Alright. So this is what they look like. And look, I could just, ow, that was hot. I could just basically smash them with my fork. That's how tender you want them. And they just melt in your mouth. Delish. Best, hot, but the best Brussels sprouts on the planet. And I'm not joking. So, later on, when I plate up my husband's meal and I make his steak with the scalloped potatoes, I will show you what his dinner plate looks like. Why can't I get this to stay straight? Ow, that was hot. So anyhow, there you have it. Delicious sirloin steak. Delicious Chuckwagon Brussels sprouts.